You know what's crazy? It's not that they disrespected you. That part? Predictable. People show their true colors when they think they have the upper hand. They lie. They laugh. They step on you because they think you're safe to step on. No, that's not the shocking part. The shocking part is what you did next. You didn't explode. You didn't beg. You didn't chase explanations or demand apologies. You went quiet. And that silence, that wasn't weakness. That was power they didn't see coming because they were ready for drama. They were ready for you to snap, to react, to give them something they could use against you. But you didn't. You walked away with your head high and your mouth closed, and that changed the entire game. See, when you stay silent, people start talking to themselves. They replay every word, every look, every moment. They start asking questions they never planned to face. Did I go too far? Did I underestimate them? What are they planning? And that uncertainty, that eats people alive. Your silence becomes louder than any argument ever could be. Because now, they don't control the story anymore. You do. And here's the part most people don't understand. When someone disrespects you, they expect you to stay emotionally connected. They expect you to prove that they still matter, that they still have access to your feelings. But when you go quiet, you send a different message. You say, "You don't control me. You don't get my energy. You don't get my emotions." And that hits harder than any insult ever could. Because ego can survive anger. But ego cannot survive being ignored. Let that sink in. Anger still means they matter. Silence means they don't. And that realization, that destroys people. They start checking your socials, asking mutual friends about you, watching your moves from a distance, not because they care about your happiness, but because they're afraid. Afraid that you're doing just fine without them. Afraid that you're growing. Afraid that you're moving forward. And the scariest thought of all? That maybe, just maybe, they were never as important to you as they thought. See, disrespect always comes from insecurity. People only try to belittle what they secretly feel threatened by. They mock what they can't become. They attack what they can't control. And when you don't react, you force them to sit alone with that truth. No distractions, no drama, no chaos to hide behind. Just them and their own reflection. And most people hate what they see when the noise stops. They start realizing that maybe they weren't as powerful as they believed. That maybe they pushed away someone who was stronger than they ever understood. And now they don't get access anymore. Now they don't get reactions. They don't get explanations. They don't get emotional control. All they get is silence. And silence gives them something far worse than anger. It gives them time to think, time to regret, time to overanalyze, time to imagine worst-case scenarios. They don't know if you've moved on. They don't know if you've leveled up. They don't know if you even remember them. And that unknown, that psychological pressure they can't escape. Because you see, people don't fear confrontation. They fear being forgotten. They fear losing relevance. They fear realizing they never mattered as much as they thought. And when you don't respond, when you don't chase, when you don't explain, you quietly tell them you were a chapter, not the whole story. And nothing hurts an ego more than being reduced to a lesson. But let's talk about you for a second. Because silence isn't easy. It takes strength to stay calm when you've been hurt. It takes discipline not to defend yourself when you know you were wronged. Everything inside you wants to speak, to explain, to prove your side. But you chose control over chaos, and that decision? That's the moment you took your power back. Because the strongest people in the room aren't the loudest. They're the ones who don't need to prove anything. They move differently. They think differently. They protect their energy like it's currency, and that's what you did. You invested your energy in yourself, not in someone who already showed you they didn't deserve it. And while they're stuck replaying the past, you're building a future. While they're telling their version of the story, you're writing a better one. While they're still talking about what happened, you're becoming someone they can't reach anymore. And that distance, that's not punishment, that's growth. Because sometimes the biggest revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's outgrowing them completely. No announcements, no speeches, no dramatic exits, just quiet progress. And one day, they notice. They see the change in your confidence, your mindset, your success, your peace, and suddenly, they remember. They remember how they treated you. They remember how easily they dismissed you. And that memory, it doesn't sit comfortably, because now they have to live with the fact that they underestimated someone who never needed to prove anything. And here's the part that really messes with people. You didn't destroy them. You didn't attack them. You didn't seek revenge. You just moved on. And that tells them everything. It tells them that they weren't powerful enough to stop you, that they weren't important enough to break you, that they weren't significant enough to slow you down. And for someone who thrives on control, that's devastating. Because now they don't get closure, they don't get redemption, they don't get forgiveness on their timeline. They just get distance, and distance forces reflection. Reflection forces accountability, and accountability is something most people try their whole lives to avoid, but you're not stuck there anymore. You took the pain, the betrayal, the disrespect, and instead of letting it turn into bitterness, you turned it into motivation. You turned it into discipline, into focus, into growth. And while they were busy laughing, you were quietly upgrading, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. You didn't argue, you didn't compete, you evolved. And evolution doesn't make noise. It just creates distance, distance between who you were and who you're becoming. And one day, when they finally understand what they lost, you won't even be in the same place anymore. Not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually. You won't need apologies. You won't need explanations, because closure didn't come from them. It came from your own growth. And that's the ultimate freedom. So if you're in that quiet phase right now, where you not explaining yourself, not proving yourself, not chasing validation, good, that means you're leveling up. That means you've learned that your peace is worth more than winning arguments, that your future is more important than fixing the past, that not everyone deserves access to your emotions. And that's not cold, that's wise, because you can't heal in the same environment that hurt you. And you can't build the next version of yourself while carrying the weight of people who couldn't respect you. So let them talk, let them assume, let them wonder. Your silence is not confusion. It's clarity. It's you choosing growth over chaos, over drama, purpose over pride. And the truth is, the moment you stopped reacting was the moment you started winning, not against them, but for yourself. And that victory, that lasts longer than any argument ever could.